I'm Carl Meadows. I'm Director of Product for OpenSearch here at AWS. And Pallavi will also be speaking with me. She's a senior manager, leads some of our engineering efforts around OpenSearch. As Director of Product, I oversee product management for Amazon OpenSearch Service, as well as our Prometheus and Grafana services, as well as our AWS's participation in the open source OpenSearch project. So today we're going to talk about the open source. We're going to talk about OpenSearch, the journey from forking to the foundation, and I'm really excited that you guys could make it out and happy to talk to you guys about it. So quick agenda, we'll give you a little background on OpenSearch, our community and partners, the software foundation. Then Pallavi is going to walk us through some of the journey of the innovation, future roadmap, and I'll close with how you can get more involved. So for who here uses OpenSearch, is familiar with OpenSearch? And I can't see you, but it looks like there's hands. In 2021, we forked OpenSearch from Elasticsearch 7.10 after Elastic changed the license on Elasticsearch and set out to build a community-driven project that was, with AWS leading this fork. And it was an AWS-managed project, but we put in place the mechanisms to try to build the community. Pallavi's going to talk more about that. But the core of what OpenSearch is, it's over 120 repos, but there's really three primary software projects that make up the OpenSearch suite. One is OpenSearch Core, and that's the distributed search and analytics engine with vector database, integrated vector database capabilities. So this is the core engine that powers OpenSearch. It's built on top of Apache Lucene and others as the core search library that powers OpenSearch. The second piece of the project is OpenSearch Dashboards, and this is the front-end component that allows you to do things like log discovery, visualization of data, search workbench, set up anomaly detections, alarms, visualize all of that observability experience. And the third piece is Data Prepper. Who here has used Data Prepper or Amazon OpenSearch ingestion service? Anybody? Not much? So Data Prepper is really cool. You should take it out, check it out. It's think of it as an alternate Logstash. It's a very lightweight data collector that we built from the ground up. Supports collecting data, both push and pull mechanisms from multiple data sources to make it easy to get data into OpenSearch, transform it, enrich it, aggregate it, and then route it to the right destination, including OpenSearch, clusters, collections, and S3. So this way, we've designed it to make it really easy to pull data in from multiple things. So like on the managed service, our zero ETL integration with like Dynamo and DocDB uses Data Prepper in the back end to actually get the data out of Dynamo, transform it, and put it in the format that you need to build your search application on OpenSearch, as an example. Cool. So how do people use OpenSearch? Well, I'm always impressed with how our customers and our users are finding new and interesting ways to use OpenSearch. It's a very flexible platform that builders can do lots of things with. But they really primarily come down to four sort of key buckets. One is as a search engine. It's original design and intent, and it's still extremely popular for building building search experiences, for driving like highly relevant results for all sorts of search apps. Like I said, it's got a rich set of functionality that you need for search experiences, like fuzzy, faceting, autocomplete, hybrid and vector capabilities to be able to implement vector searches mixed with full text search, semantic search. So we're seeing a lot of innovation in this area. We're seeing a lot of popularity with a lot of folks nowadays are rethinking how they do search with the models becoming so much more capable at getting at customer intent without so much manual tuning as you would used to have to do with full text search. So we see a lot of innovation there, a lot of popularity there. That dovetails into why OpenSearch is very often used as a backend for AI and ML applications. Because it's got this rich set of capabilities and strong vector capabilities, then you'll often see it used in recommendation systems, fraud detection systems, chat, RAG, more AI and ML-driven search problems. OpenSearch is very popular there. On the other side of the equation is more analytical use cases, where this is taking large amounts of data, doing aggregations, finding insights, making it fast to do forensic and search analysis on large troves of data. So you see this very popular, obviously, OpenSearch for log analytics and observability use cases. Equally, you'll see this be very useful for security analytics vendors and security analytics customers, where they're trying to find insights in very large amounts of data. As an example, a popular commercial product that it participates in OpenSearch and is built on OpenSearch is like Waza. If you've ever used Waza, its backend is all powered by OpenSearch under the covers. Cool. So if we look at the project, and like I mentioned, we forked just over 3 years ago, a little 3.5 years ago since 1.0 came out. The project has really blossomed. So it's grown to now over 120 repos. We have 75 partners in the project that are built commercial solutions on top of OpenSearch, be this other service providers like Oracle, DigitalOcean, Ivan, NetApp, Instacluster, to systems integrators that are doing consulting and project work to help you build search applications and experiences, to other ISVs like Waza that are building their own products on top of OpenSearch. We've had over 21 launches, more than 700 million downloads to date. We get 1.4 million page views on opensearch.org. We have a public Slack channel with nearing 3,000 members in the public Slack. We have a forum that's used for more persistent technical posts so that you can find things later if you ask a question, with over 6,000 members on it. We've had contributions and code contributions from over 1,000 people, and we now have 43 maintainers inside the OpenSearch project that are not AWS people. So all of this growth led us to, it was time to take the next step. If we're going to continue to grow and innovate and make it easy for lots of people to participate in this project, it's clear we needed to move it to a neutral foundation where everyone could participate in a more equal footing. Additionally, many companies now have become rightfully a little concerned with investing heavily in projects that are vendor controlled. We mentioned one situation already in this deck about why you might be wary. And as a AWS managed project, I think it's right to be concerned that, do I really want to bet big on my company on a project that, AWS could change its mind. We're not going to, but we could. And so we took this step in September to transition OpenSearch to the Linux Foundation. So OpenSearch is now a top-level project at the Linux Foundation. We set up a technical steering committee that's made up of many of the folks that have been contributing technical code, and a governance process to bring in more people and drive more people into the technical steering committee to set up the technical and to build a sustainable governance model, leveraging Linux Foundation strengths to help us really grow and continue to build that project. At the same time we did that, we also set up the OpenSearch Software Foundation. So this is a separate body that is purpose is to promote and support the project. So OpenSearch Software Foundation is made up of premier members are AWS, Uber, and SAP, and then a set of other general members that are all contributing financially to support the project. And so this financial support looks like, how do we drive, use money to improve developer education, to run our OpenSearchCon conferences, to make the website more engaging and have better blogs and drive adoption. So one thing I do want to make clear, though, is that the OpenSearch Software Foundation is distinct from the technical project. So there's no requirements that you be a member of the OpenSearch Software Foundation to use OpenSearch or to even drive technical influence in the project, because there's a completely different set of things. So we have, to drive technical influence in the project, it's all about, committing code, working with the community, and then we have a process that, from there you can be voted in as a maintainer and have access to the project. The chair of the technical steering committee is Anandi, who also sits on the governing board, so she represents the project. So she's not here. I don't know why I'm pointing over there. So like if the project, say, needed some money to do an audit or something, she would take that to the governing board so we could get the money to go and do what they need on the project side. I'm actually the chair of the governing board, so I'm also involved in like how we promote the project and build the project up. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Pallavi. Pallavi's, like I said, an engineering leader here at AWS, and she oversees OpenSearch Core as well as some other things. And she'll talk you through some of the innovations we've been doing, and I'll come back and close this out.
Thanks, Carl. So I'm super excited to walk you through the innovation journey that OpenSearch has undertaken with the support of its open source community, and what we are doing to empower that community so that we can build the project's future together. So Carl kind of already walked through this in 2021 when Elastic changed the licensing of Elasticsearch to a more restrictive license. That's when AWS decided to release a fork, as users understandably wanted a more open source alternative. So this step in the journey of releasing our own OpenSearch fork was super exciting, but it was also a lot of hard work. The scale and complexity of the fork was huge. Just to give you an idea, there were 650 pull requests, there were 56,000 files, and 4.5 million lines of code that were modified in order to take this fork off the ground. So the focus in 2021, as we delivered the OpenSearch 1.x line, was to have a stable release that is interoperable and also available in all the distributions that our community wanted. So with a stable release and a robust build system that we built, 2022 was all about listening and learning. So as we, and when I say we, it is us at the OpenSearch project from within AWS, and also the project sponsors at AWS, they invited more users and contributors to become a part of this community. And in 2022, a lot of time we spent in learning how to enable an open source community. Now that might sound a bit surprising to you, but bear in mind that AWS had not led an open source project of the scale and trajectory as OpenSearch before. So it was new to a lot of folks at AWS, and we had to learn the right approach to build trust with the teams within AWS, and more importantly, with our partners and organizations and external contributors, right? So we leaned on some of our public communication channels to build trust of the community, and as part of that, there were several user forums, there were blog posts, and we heavily leaned on GitHub as our vehicle for innovation. Now in 2023 was really when we truly adopted an open source first mindset, right? And we realized the true potential of a strong open source community. It was in 2023, early in 2023, that the rise of generative AI put OpenSearch at the forefront, thanks to its early innovations in KNN algorithms and vector database, right? So in 2023, we also found it crucial that we start investing in search performance and more use cases of vector databases, including hybrid search. In 2023, apart from all the innovation that was going on as part of the community, there was another change that was happening. There was a push towards more open and transparent governance. There was a leadership committee that was formed in 2023 to try and promote open and transparent governance, which formed the foundation of all the things that happened in 2024 with a move to the Linux Foundation. So all the efforts behind building a active community, open source community, paid off. We ended 2023 with significant advancements in multiple areas. Search and Gen AI comes top of mind, and there were significant improvements in search performance and as well as vector databases and hybrid search. Not only core innovation, our community grew, right? We had maintainers from over 25 organizations. Our OpenSearch.org, which is a project website, it reached 1 million monthly visitors. We saw a lot of new contributors, external users coming into OpenSearch to contribute code. And the existing contributors, they deepened their commitment. So we had organizations like Aryan, ByteDance, SAP contribute significant portions of code. And we also had companies like Intel that contributed performance improvements in the form of new codecs based on Z-standard compression. So in 2024, Carl already covered how we moved to a more neutral Linux Foundation and how a governing board and a technical steering committee, which is represented, which has a diverse set of stakeholders, was all formed in 2024. So now we have a very engaged open source community, and this is going to be our foundation for all the future innovations. This timeline pretty much shows you how early in our open source journey, a lot of the contributions were coming from within AWS. However, as time progressed and we matured as an open source project, we saw more innovations coming in from external users and contributors. With the open source community we have built, they are establishing a roadmap for the future. So it is a completely community-driven roadmap. And in September of 2024, we revamped our roadmap process to introduce these 9 themes to better organize all the innovations that were happening across areas. So these 9 themes: vector, Gen AI, search, ease of use, observability, security analytics, cost performance scale, security, availability, resiliency, stability, availability, resiliency, security, modular architecture, and releases and project health. Each one of these themes is important to us, and we built a lot of mechanisms behind the scenes for the community to organize the innovations along these themes. So I'll take a few minutes to walk through each one of these themes where the community has really come together to create a technical direction for 2025 and beyond. So talking about vector and Gen AI first. So as I mentioned, 2023, the rise of Gen AI and LLMs created new opportunities for OpenSearch as a vector database. So now enterprise content, such as enterprise unstructured content, such as audio, video, documents, they can be chunked and they are sent through the transformer models to generate the vector embeddings. And OpenSearch can can store those vector embeddings as KNN indices. And after storing these vector embeddings in OpenSearch, they become available to a wide variety of AI/ML-based search use cases. So this picture kind of shows you on the search side of things where new use cases of search are enabled. And the example here is building a chatbot application. So using a chatbot application, you can type in human language like queries, right? And this question is again transformed to a vector embedding using transformer models, and it runs through semantic search flows in OpenSearch using the KNN algorithms to return ranked results. And these ranked documents then become the enriched prompt to LLMs to return the answers back to the user. So the previous slide was showing you the indexing side of things, and this slide is showing you how it enables new search use cases. So obviously, our OpenSearch as a vector database has really taken off, and there is a wide adoption. So there's a big push to improve the price performance of vector search, and there are several innovations that are on the roadmap around this to improve the price performance of vector search. Disk optimized vector search for low memory environments. We have a two-phase KNN search where the first phase works off in-memory quantized indexes, and the second phase then rescores the results based on full precision vectors that are stored on the disk. There are other memory optimizations for vectors using product quantization. And then using GPUs is another focus area for us going forward in order to accelerate the index build time for vector embeddings for KNN indices. We are working on warm tier and cold store integration for vector indices. Then we want to improve the out-of-box experience for vector search by having more intelligent defaults, more intelligent hyperparameters, and integration with autotune. So as a result of all these improvements in vector search, there are more use cases, there are more AI, ML powered search use cases that will be possible. Now, just looking purely at the AI, ML search use cases, there are several things on the roadmap, and I have captured a few here. So neural search is an area where we are investing in improvements. So for example, for neural search, we will support a batch offline processing with inference services such as SageMaker, Cohere, OpenAI. There is a push to get more efficient sparse models, add multilanguage support. Then developers are front and center of whatever we do. So we want to make sure that we are building the low-code search flow builder so that novice users can also create AI ML powered search experiences. So I'll spend a few minutes talking about core search. So OpenSearch, at the heart of it, is a search engine, right? And on top of the search engine, we build more complex use cases of search as well as analytics. So we want to make sure that the query engine that is present in OpenSearch is flexible, is super performant. So there are several initiatives that are planned to make the query engine better. We plan to make it more distributed and composable so that you can plug in different engines. Then query planner. I mean, there is work that has started to introduce a logical and a physical query planner in OpenSearch so that your query executions are more optimized. Query performance is a big focus area for us. Now, most of the search and analytics use cases use a bunch of common operations that are served by the query engine, and we are hyper-focused on improving the performance of those query operations. And they can be different operations ranging from text, date histogram, aggregations, etc. We are moving towards incorporating more recent technologies like Rust and SIMD. For more complex workloads with large amount of query results, we have new innovations such as tiered caching, which spills results to disk. Then there is concurrent segment search, and there's, query performance has a lot of stuff on the roadmap. Not just performance, we are also enhancing the core query capabilities as new types of workloads onboard onto OpenSearch. So we are introducing new field types in OpenSearch. Query Insights is a new initiative we are doing, and we are building all the primitives in open source. And as part of Query Insights, we want to give you all the information to find bottlenecks in your query performance, fine-tune queries, and more importantly, we want to integrate with AI ML technologies to build a recommendation engine. We are continuing to go deeper, not just into OpenSearch query engine, but also in Lucene, where we are making active contributions now. Recent example is the BKD docID encoding, which helps both search and indexing. We are working on new algorithms to improve search relevance, like the BM25F. There are improvements planned for hybrid search. User behavior insight is another initiative that's happening, which will help build some kind of feedback loop to fine-tune search experiences. We want OpenSearch to be the search engine of choice for all other databases like SQL and NoSQL databases such as RDS, Dynamo, etc. So there are initiatives ongoing and planned for better integration with these databases through Data Prepper. Now, as I mentioned, search performance is a core focus area for us because it underpins a lot of the query operations that our search and analytics workloads need. So what we have done is we have spent considerable investments towards making OpenSearch Benchmark a first-class benchmarking tool in open source. So OpenSearch Benchmark, or the short form, we call it the OSB. You can add new workloads. It is predictable. We post the results nightly, and it can scale to terabytes of data. We have also introduced new workloads in OpenSearch benchmarks. And this graph is depicting the benchmarking results from our Big 5 workloads. Big 5 workload is a new workload that captures around 41 query operations that are common in search and analytics workload. And this is showing the query latencies, and this gives you an idea of the kind of strategic investment that has happened in optimizing the core query engine. So OpenSearch 2.17, which released in September of 2024, it had a 6.5x speed up over OpenSearch 1.3, which was our last release in OpenSearch 1.x line. Ease of use is another theme that we are focused on in improving the dashboard's experience. So while there are things on the managed service that have recently been launched, we are building the primitives in open source. Like we have built multi-data source, we have built version decoupling, support in open source. Then we are building better collaboration experiences with Workspace in dashboards. Most importantly, we have elevated the look and feel of dashboard. It is a more modern UI. Now moving to observability and security analytics. Again, the roadmap has many things planned to make it easier to correlate logs, metrics, and traces. So as an example, there is already integration with OpenTelemetry, and we want to have common experiences with SQL and piped query language within Discover, which recently was unveiled. But we want Discover to become your central analytics hub. So from within Discover, you should be able to fine-tune your queries, you should be able to create visualizations, you should be able to fire alerts, generate reports, etc. Integration with Apache Spark for low-cost storage of data that is stored outside OpenSearch. That's an ongoing area of investment for OpenSearch. Data prepper enhancements for supporting more ways to ingest data as well as supporting more syncs such as Apache Kafka. Security analytics, more unified experiences for threat detection, and most importantly, integration with GenAI workflows, right? Cost, performance, and scale. So the beauty of OpenSearch is not all these sophisticated features and benchmarks, etc., but you can take an OpenSearch installation, run it at scale at a low cost. So around that, there are several initiatives that are planned. Performance, I already covered search performance. Indexing is another area where we continue to improve performance, and we recently had worked on segment replication, which improves the indexing performance, and there are more planned. We are introducing the concept of application-based templates in order to understand your application better so that we can fine-tune the deployment. Shard management is an area where we have more innovations planned for more online shard splitting or better shard placement decisions. Pull-based ingestion is another thing that has just started, and it's a big initiative. Today, our indexing works off a push-based model. So we want to introduce alternative API for pull-based indexing that can work better in case of spikes, or it can allow you to prioritize different workloads. Integration with remote store, that's another area. We want to introduce more intelligent tiering of your data, like your hot, warm, cold data, with better integration with remote store. And a lot of work is happening in open source to do that. Snapshots are going to become more efficient as a result of integration with remote store. Admin APIs are also becoming more efficient. Stability, availability, and resiliency. We want to make sure when you're operating your OpenSearch deployments at scale, they are stable and resilient. So a lot of work is happening around this area. We are giving you visibility into different phases of query execution. Query insights I already covered. As part of query resiliency, we are introducing hard cancellation and more mechanisms for search back pressure, even when your queries are deep inside the Lucene layer. Workload management, we see users operate OpenSearch deployments in a multi-tenant environment. So we are introducing the concept of query groups, where you can do tenant isolation or tenant-based prioritization. You can also define quality of service based on your tenant ID. Cluster state management is another area. Today, the cluster state is kind of big, and with better integration with remote store, we are making it lightweight. Then there are improvements to data prepper as far as the resiliency is concerned, improvement to the dead letter queue if OpenSearch installation is unavailable. Security. Everything that we do is built with security in mind. So we strongly follow secure by design, secure by default, even in open source. A lot of our work in security is happening in open source. So with the plugin architecture of OpenSearch, we are introducing new ways to share resources amongst the plugins. Then we also want admins to have full visibility into the permissions requested by the plugins before we install the plugins. Then privilege evaluation, we are finding out that the OpenSearch usage is becoming more complex with too many indices or with numerous roles mapped to users. So we are working on making privilege evaluation more performant. Index level encryption, because users do tend to run OpenSearch deployment in multi-tenant setup. We want customers to be able to use different keys for different indices. Ease of use, setting up security has been a challenge area for many of our users, and you're working to streamline it. We want to have a unified security model that is rooted in open source, and then the managed cluster and the serverless deployments are just derivatives of the open source security constructs. We want the security primitives such as authorization to be pluggable so that we can do easier integrations with newer open standards such as Open Policy Agent. As we work on all of these themes, we also want to make sure that the foundational architecture of OpenSearch is robust. When we started, the architecture of OpenSearch was more tailored towards a cluster-based deployment. But we are moving more and more towards serverless-based deployment, which also means that we are breaking the monolithic server module of OpenSearch, and we are decoupling, we are removing the tight coupling across different components. Releases and project health. So this has been a big enabler because like Carl and I both shared that the project has grown a lot, like 122 repos. So it wasn't easy to run the project, and we don't want to have central control. We want to have different users, different components have their independence in running the triage meetings, etc. So we have created components in OpenSearch core, which was a giant monolith up until very recently. And now with these components, each repo or component is able to run their own operations. We have unveiled new operations dashboard that allows you to track key repository health metrics. On the release front, every 6 weeks we are doing a release, and we have moved away from doing any manual sign-off. As of OpenSearch 2.17, we eliminated manual sign-offs. We have built one-click release system, and the goal is anyone should be able to release, right? We have also unveiled a new release dashboard that captures the health of all the release pipelines that are part of OpenSearch. So we are moving to the last section of this presentation, and Carl is going to walk you through how you can participate in OpenSearch and get more involved. Thanks. Yeah, sorry.
So as a product manager and someone who loves products, I like to talk about what I care about, like how do we propose changes and get the community involved in the ideation and building the right products. And this holds true for community members as well as my own team, product managers. On the open source project, we all work out in the open. And so there's a couple things I just wanted to touch base on. If there's like a major new idea or new proposal, we generally recommend and start with a RFC or a request for comments. So anybody can open these. You don't have to be the person that's going to contribute it, but if you are, that's even better. So you can say, hey, I have this idea. We want to introduce this new codec for compression, or we want to change how we're doing indexing for a different data type. And you start with the problem, outline your goals and objectives and your idea, and it's posted in GitHub as an RFC, which then enables the rest of the community and the other maintainers and contributors to comment and refine that idea. Smaller features, you can just open as a GitHub issue as just a feature request and just directly work with the engineering team. But our goal here is, or all of the development community, our goal here is to try to keep it really lightweight, easy and engaging for people to both contribute as well as comment, and really maximize community engagement. And so even like our own RFCs, you guys can see it. You can comment on it. Make sure that we have good consensus across the community of how we're planning to approach these things. Like everything Pallavi covered are all issues. It's all out on the public roadmap, which I'll go to in the next slide. So you can get involved and provide comments and see what's coming and how it's planned to be delivered. So the next step then is once we have consensus, the maintainers will flag that, hey, we're approved to work on this. So all of this should happen before anyone starts having to write a bunch of code, make sure that everybody's aligned. Then maintainers mark it as valid. The features get tagged into a roadmap item that shows up on the public roadmap. Starts being broken out into work streams with a meta issue and the individual issues for the different work streams. And folks can start working on it. To go back to a theme I talked about at the very beginning, if you were to sort of ask me to stack rank how I'd like to see folks get involved, first thing I would say is just use the product. Like use OpenSearch, try it out for stuff. Make sure, if you have ideas of how you can build things with OpenSearch and get involved and get usage out of the product. That's having this open source project out there that everybody can use and find useful is like first most important thing. Then, it'd be like getting engaged with the community, like providing feedback on roadmaps, providing technical blogs, writing code. There's tons of ways you can contribute to the community, and we're happy to have any of them. Then, go to an OpenSearchCon event. And then the last thing would be like the actual OpenSearch Software Foundation. So there's a technical blog that Pallavi and team published about a month ago that outlines a lot of the stuff she covered here, as well as some of this in greater detail of like how we're breaking down the roadmap into the areas, the focus areas that she walked through. There's a release board that's live, that's constantly updated, that is the actual roadmap that's broken out by those categories with the meta issues all there, tagged to which releases they're planned on, so you can go straight back into the issues, back into the RFCs, see all the commentary. We publish triage and operational meetings across those different areas we talked about. They're all published in our meetup page. So if you are interested in vector databases, or you're interested in core search or observability, you can attend those triage meetings, see how issues are being prioritized, talk to the rest of the contributors working in that area. It's open for everyone to attend. Like I said, the last thing is we also have the OpenSearch Software Foundation. If you want to give us money to help promote and do things like OpenSearchCon, you're always welcome, but that's not required. A couple other resources I didn't put on here. The OpenSearchCon, so last year we did 3 OpenSearchCon events, one in Europe, one in India, and one in North America. We plan to continue expanding those now that we're in the Linux Foundation. We have published the dates, I think just as of earlier this week, for OpenSearchCon Europe is now planned at the end of April in Amsterdam. I think we'll be posting a request for papers very soon, I think maybe by the end of the week. So if you have things that you want to present about OpenSearch or have some ideas, we'll publish a request for papers. You can put those in there, and maybe you can come out to Amsterdam, have some fun, do a talk. That'd be great. We have the public Slack, the community forums we talked about, the events, the meetup page, our docs. That QR code has like all the links we talked about. It's got everything you want, from GitHub to the marketing sites to all the links we talked about here. So feel free to scan that and peruse that on your copious free time. The last call out I would make is if you're more interested, or if you are interested as well in how you can consume OpenSearch as part of the Amazon OpenSearch service, myself and or Mukul, our general manager, will be doing a talk tomorrow at this time, not here at Mandalay Bay, which is somewhere, but at noon. Would love to have you come down. You want to learn more about how all this stuff is showing up on the managed service, if that's how you'd like to consume it. Be happy to see you there. But with that, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. We'd love to see you contributing, using OpenSearch. Really excited with everything that's going on and the momentum, and thanks for everybody coming. Yeah.